to the Who Dat Nation. Welcome to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and Thursday Night Football has went final, and our New Orleans Saints have lost again. 5, if you're counting at home, 5 consecutive losses since the first 2 epic blowouts that we started the season with. Saints are now 2-5 after losing to the Denver Broncos, and more importantly, losing to Sean Payton in his epic return to New Orleans as the coach of the Broncos by the score of 33-10 on Thursday Night Football, which was on Prime Video for the world could see. It was I don't know. I honestly don't know. I was numb last week after the loss. I was in a state of like, you know what, it is what it is. I'm taking emotion out of it because I don't want to get caught up in the, well, how do I put it? I didn't want my blood pressure to shoot through the roof. I didn't want to catch a stroke watching the New Orleans Saints, but it has been embarrassing. It's not anger now. Last year it was anger. Last year it was just pure anger watching this team. Now it's just embarrassing. We've graduated to embarrassment. And I think the rest of the Who Dat Nation is starting to feel that as well, because you can tell late in that game, the dome was empty. People went home. People left the stadium, as they should. I'll go as far to say they should have never went there in the first place. Why support this team? Why continue to spend your money on this team? Why your hard-earned money, and watch a team that doesn't give you a hard-earned effort on the field? This team quit. I know we talked last week when the Saints lost to the Buccaneers, how the Saints quit. The players quit on Dennis Allen in that game. A lot of debate going around about that. Like, oh, no, they didn't quit and all this here. Okay. I can see why you question if the Saints players quit. Even though I've been watching football my entire life, even played a little football for a portion of my life, I know when players quit. Those players quit. But if you want to make that argument for last week's effort, all right, I'm going to leave it be. You cannot make that argument for this Thursday night game. This team quit. This team quit. The Denver Broncos are one of the worst running offenses in the league these first 7 weeks of the season. They put up 227 yards on the ground against the Saints. And these were just overpowering runs. These were trucking over people. Once again, poor tackling and everything else. The team quit. Which leads me to this. Once again, the New Orleans Saints, in my humble opinion, has no other option at this point. No other option but to fire Dennis Allen. And by firing Dennis Allen, that does not mean that the Saints are going to go on a 12-game win streak, make the playoffs, and go to the Super Bowl. That's not going to solve the problem. This season is washed. This season is done for a number of reasons, not just Dennis Allen. He's the number one reason, but he's not the only one. We have injuries on top. This team is officially cursed in my eyes. I don't know if somebody put a hex on them, got some voodoo dolls hanging over a fireplace or something. I don't know what's going on, but this is the most injury-ridden team in NFL history. At least it feels like it. Your starting quarterback, your 2 starting wide receivers, your number 1 and your number 2. your starting center, your starting guards, both of them. Your running back is not 100%. And then you lost the backup to your starting center. Then you lost the backup to your guard, and you lost another guard who is the backup today. Your cornerback, Marshawn Lattimore, he went down tonight against the Broncos with a hamstring. Even though I'm not buying, out of all the injuries, that's the one I'm not buying. The one I am buying though is Paulson Adebo, and a lot of people probably happy because of all of the pass interference. He actually had one today. He gave us one on the way out. Actually, it was a defensive holding, which is the same thing. But yeah, it looks like his leg broke the way that they treated that injury. But I don't expect to see him back anytime soon. Pete Warner is out. You know, I mean, my goodness. Oh, I forgot Taysom Hill. You know, it's so many. It's so many that are out, that are hurt. And these are all of your key pieces. Yeah, it's a problem, but that is not an excuse. That is not an excuse. You do not use the excuse, oh, we have injuries. That's why we're losing. All teams have injuries. Yeah, the Saints have a lot. Don't get me wrong. And it's a lot to overcome. Don't get me wrong about that either. But here's the issue. It's not that you're losing. We can use the excuse that we can't overcome the injuries if we just aren't good enough. You know, that your backups aren't good enough. Because technically, the New Orleans Saints, for the past couple of weeks, have been sending the practice squad out there to play these games. I mean, we don't have any players. And that's the God honest truth. I'm not blind to that fact. But it's the effort. It's the not being prepared part. That's what's killing me. This team isn't prepared. And once again, we're going to use another excuse. Let me debunk that too. Oh, this is the third game in 10 days for the Saints. I understand they may be tired. I understand. They had a Monday night, then they had a short week and played Sunday. Then they had to turn right back around on Thursday and play. That's a lot. And in the midst of all that, you had major injuries go on. Understandable. I get it. So you coming off of a short week. You just played Sunday. Okay. So did Denver. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. Denver looked prepared. Denver looked disciplined. Denver looked like they wanted to win the game. Saints at no point in this game looked like they were prepared to play. At no point. So I just, if they didn't care, I didn't care. I started watching it. I was a little excited. You know, Sean Payton's back. Drew Brees led the team out of the tunnel and blah, blah, blah. All right, cool. But then the kickoff happened, and I just didn't care. I did not care because immediately it was like I was Notre Dame. I knew the Saints were not going to win this game. I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel it. The magic wasn't there, and I was right. And I was right. The Denver Broncos overpowered the Saints, who are depleted. They are truly depleted. But the Denver Broncos came out victorious 33-10 on Thursday night. Denver running back Javonte Williams had 2 rushing touchdowns today, which is the first of his career, mind you, and former Saints kicker Will Lutz kicked not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 field goals tonight against his former team. Rookie quarterback Bo Nix, he did as much damage with his legs as he did with his arm. He really didn't do anything with his arm. I don't like calling people trash, at least not on this show. But Bo Nix, um, eventually he probably will be a good quarterback. He's not now. He is not. He's not. Because honestly, this could have been worse. With a average quarterback, this would have been worse. But Bo Nix, he cannot throw the ball to save his life. Now he can run. He can tear you up with his legs. He had 73 yards rushing, which was part of the not the one, but the 227 rushing yards that Denver were able to put up on the Saints defense today. Like I said, this is the fifth consecutive loss to the Saints. Now, over on our side, our rookie quarterback, Spencer Rattler, he had to start yet again because of Derek Carr's oblique injury. Rattler was 25 of 35, 172 yards, and 2 lost fumbles today. The second one was returned for a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and that pretty much sealed the deal for the Saints. Actually, the game was over before that, but that was just the nail in the coffin. Second-year quarterback Jake Hader, he came in the final 2 minutes of the game because it looked like Spencer Rattler got hurt as well. On the previous drive before the little 2-minute drill. And so we got to monitor that. But I have a theory anyway. I think Derek Carr coming back next week when they play anyway. So it didn't matter. But Jake Hader, he managed to get our only touchdown today when he threw a 12-yard touchdown pass to Cedric Wilson, which was, I believe, his first touchdown this season, at least his first as a Saint, with 1 minute and 20 seconds left in the game. It was also Hader's first touchdown of his career, believe it or not, as the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. And so congratulations to him. The Saints entered the game without their starting quarterback, their top 2 receivers, and Chris Olave and Shadeed. Taysom Hill didn't play. Their left guard, center, right guard, and their backup center and left guard didn't play either. And it was glaring. It was obvious today. It was super obvious tonight. But I'm not letting Dennis Allen off with that excuse. Running back Alvin Kamara ran for 10 yards on 7 carries. 10 yards on 7 carries. He caught 6 passes for 14 yards. The top receiver was Mason Tifton. He had three catches for 21 yards. That was the top receiver for the New Orleans Saints today. Now, Denver has a really good really good. I think they were the 4th ranked defense in the league going into this game. Pretty sure it's higher now, but yeah, they are a really good defense. And to say that we sent out this mass unit to try to do something against it, yeah, it wasn't the recipe for a win. The Saints lost both of their starting cornerbacks in the game, as I said earlier. Paulson Adebo, he had to be carted off the field in the second quarter with what looks to be a right knee injury, and Marshawn Lattimore left in the third quarter with a hamstring injury. The team also lost left guard Nick Savavari to a shoulder injury, which forced the Saints to start their rookie guard, Kyle Hergel, one of 10 rookies to see significant action on Thursday night. That's Rattler, Bud Means, Mason Tifton, Taliense Fuaga, Hergel, as I mentioned before, and Kool-Aid McKenzie, and Rico Payton, Jermaine Jackson, and the punter, Matthew Hayball. Those are all rookies. 10 rookies had to start this Thursday night. Well, not start. A couple of them didn't start, but they had to play. That is wow. Second-year running back Kendra Miller saw his first action of the season, and he looked good. He looked real good today. He had 6 carries for 36 yards coming into the fourth quarter. The Saints will have a few extra days. This is kind of a mini bye, which they really need desperately. They need a complete bye, but we'll take the 3 extra days to prepare for the Los Angeles Chargers on October the 27th. That will be the Saints' next game. I really don't have much to say about this game. Honestly, it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing to watch this team disintegrate in front of your eyes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how much lower can you go? And you hate to ask that question because it can get lower, and the Saints are capable of going lower than what we are. But I, I'm encouraged though, because according to our general manager, Mickey Loomis, he said we should look past results when evaluating Dennis Allen. So let's look past the results, which the results are 5 straight losses. So let's look past that. So let's look at the defense, which is where he got his start, which is where he cuts his teeth. That's his thing. That's what makes Dennis Allen Dennis Allen. This defense has allowed, in the last 2 games, over 70 points scored on it. Now, there's a couple of turnovers in there. There's a couple of turnovers in there. You know, a pick six, a return fumble for a touchdown, stuff like that. But for the most part, that defense has given up astronomical numbers. And it's ridiculous. But that's a result. So I got to look past that too. Let's look at having this team prepared. This team has been outplayed, outpowered, and outcoached for 5 straight weeks. This team isn't responding to whatever Dennis Allen is telling them during the week, at halftime in the locker room, on the sideline, during the timeout. Whenever he opens his mouth, their ears are shut. It's not registering to these players. He's lost the team. But that's a result. Let's look past that result. What am I looking for, Mickey? What more do I need to see? This team is on a 5-game losing streak, something they haven't been on. This is the first time they've been on a 5-game losing streak since, Lord, when they said it during the telecast. I can't even remember. It's been years. It's been some years. But that is some unheard of stuff, especially coming off these first 2 games. Like I said, we have seen every range of emotion in just this short period of time. In a 7-week time span, we have seen this team look like the greatest show on turf, unstoppable on offense and unmovable on defense for the first 2 weeks of this season. Only to flip to now there are bags over the heads of fans yet again. The bags have come out of mothballs, people. They showed it on they showed it during the game. There are fans sitting in the stadium with bags over their heads. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to see Saints fans or hear Saints fans in the Superdome booing the Saints. Booing. It's unbelievable, man. It's like, man, we're back to this. I thought we were past this. You know, I remember these days. This ain't nothing new. I thought we were past all of this. But obviously we're not. And I don't blame the fans. They should be mad. They should be cursing them out. They should be throwing bricks on the field. You know, this is infuriating, man. This is the product that you're putting out there. 10 measly points today, and 7 of them was in garbage time. Come on, man. Let's go through some stats here. Let's look over the stats of tonight's game between the Denver Broncos, starting with passing. Bo Nix was 16 of 26, 164 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and he was sacked a grand total of 0 times. Not one sack. Moving over to the New Orleans Saints, Spencer Rattler. He was 25 of 35, 172 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was sacked a grand total of 6 times. 6. Jake Hader, he came in, as I said, on that 2-minute drill. He was 3 for 4, 38 yards, and 1 touchdown today. Leading rusher for the Denver Broncos, Javonte Williams, 14 carries for 88 yards and 2 touchdowns. Leading rusher for the Saints, Kendre Miller, 6 carries for 36 yards. Leading receiver for the Broncos was Troy Franklin, 5 catches for 50 yards. For the Saints, Cedric Wilson, 6 catches for 57 yards and a touchdown. Leading tackler for both teams, beginning with the Broncos, Justin Stabmad, I believe I'm saying his name right. He had 9 tackles. And for the New Orleans Saints, once again, for the second week in a row, Jordan Howden, he had 8 tackles. Now, when your safety is the leading tackler in the game, it's a problem. A serious one at that. Let's move over to the team stats, beginning with first downs. For the Denver Broncos, they had 22 first downs today to the Saints 15. Third down efficiency, Broncos were 4 for 11, Saints were 5 for 17. Fourth down efficiency, Broncos never went for it on fourth down, Saints went for it on fourth down 4 times and converted 3 of them. Total plays, Saints actually beat them in this category. The Broncos had 61 plays to the Saints 66. Total yardage, Broncos 389 yards today to the Saints 271. Total drives, Broncos 11, Saints 12. Yards per play, Broncos 6.4 yards per play to the Saints 4.1 yards. Passing yardage, Broncos had 164 yards passing to the Saints 174 yards passing. Rushing, Saints 97 yards rushing, Broncos 227 yards rushing. Jeez. What makes matters even worse, the Broncos averaged 6.4 yards per rush. That is excellent. You're going to win a lot of games running the ball for 6 yards a pop. Saints, on the other hand, 4.6 yards per rush. Red zone. In the red zone, Broncos were 2 of 3. Saints were 1 of 2. Penalties today, Broncos had 7 penalties for 47 yards. Saints, 5 penalties for 35 yards. Broncos had 1 turnover. Saints, 2. Time of possession, Broncos had the ball for 33 minutes and 16 seconds to the Saints 26 minutes and 44 seconds. Let's do our ratings for today's game against the Broncos. In case this is your first time listening to the show, thank you for joining me, by the way. This is how I break it down. I rate every unit of the New Orleans Saints in their performance against the Denver Broncos on Thursday Night Football. Offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. Add them up to an average to give us a final grade, overall grade of the Saints' performance. Let's begin with the offense today. Offense gets an F. Just a flat out F. I have nothing to say. Normally I'll give a little commentary. It's an F. What else do you need to hear? Defense gets a D minus, and they should have gotten an F. The only reason they didn't get an F, they got a turnover. They did get that 1 turnover. Aside from that, the defense did nothing. They get a D minus. Special teams. Hey, good job, special teams. That's all I can say to that as well. Coaching, you guessed it, people. They get an F. This team was unprepared, uninspired, and looked like high school children out there. It was horrible. Overall grade for the New Orleans Saints performance against the Denver Broncos on Monday night. Well, it's not Monday night. They got me talking crazy talk like I'm Mickey Loomis. On Thursday Night Football gets a letter grade of a D minus. It is embarrassing to watch this team play. Simply embarrassing. Normally, after every recap and reaction show, I give an MVP from the team, and for the second week in a row, nobody gets the MVP. Nobody. Nobody has earned the MVP this week as well. My final thoughts on this game. This, once again, is a clear message to Mickey Loomis and everyone in the front office of the United States. Lord, I need some sleep. Of the of the New Orleans Saints organization, that this man needs to be let go, relieved of his duties here as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. It's not working, man. It is not working. He's been the coach for going on 3 years, and this team has not gotten better. In fact, it's gotten worse. This team looks horrible, and it looks like it's not going to get any better. Now, a lot of that plays into the injury factor. Once again, I'm not dismissing that. I'm fully acknowledging that. You can't help but acknowledge it when 45% of your roster is on the injury reserve list. It feels like. And so I acknowledge that. But the players you do have, no matter what level they are, if they're not coming out there and playing inspired football, that reflects on you. And so I think it's time to let them go. And if Mickey Loomis is going to continue to mess with this fan base as if we're complete idiots, I'm not getting on board with that. I'm not gonna sit there and subject myself to this foolishness, man. This is truly poorly ran place that does not deserve my attention, my money. It don't deserve nothing from not just me, but from all of you. We deserve better in the Who Dat Nation. We deserve better. Now, I'm not mad because the Saints aren't 7-0 right now. No, I'm not. I know better. I'm not mad that they lost tonight. I get it. But man, do you have any fight in you? Is there any man in y'all? Is there any dog in y'all? Anything? I mean, win something. Get in the fight. Grab somebody face mask, slung him on the ground or something. I mean, get mad. Get mad. But no, everybody's like, oh, it's like when Marshawn Lattimore went out. Oh, he's out for the rest of the game. It wasn't no evaluation. It wasn't none of that. It was automatic. Boom, he's out for the rest of the game with a hamstring. But as soon as they show him on the sideline, he's just standing there, standing behind the coach, chewing his gum, just chilling. Like, man, I thought you hurt. If something was wrong with your leg, wouldn't you be sitting down or something or going to the locker room or something? No, you just didn't want to get back in the game. But part of me is like, I wouldn't want to get back in that game either. I think Alvin Kamara took himself out of the game late. I really did. I think he quit. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. But that guy that was on the other side of the field, Sean Payton, if he was here, it would be none of that. Just look how the Denver Broncos played compared to the New Orleans Saints today. They played to the final whistle, to the clock read 0. They were, well, I ain't gonna say disciplined because they had 7 penalties, but it was They were the more disciplined team than the Saints. They just played inspired football. They had injuries too now. Not as major, but they had injuries as well. They had a rookie quarterback too now. So we can't keep using these excuses. That's the point I'm trying to get at with that. But I said all that to say this. If the Saints are committed to Dennis Allen as their head coach moving forward, that they're just happy with this consistent mediocrity, I cannot follow this team. I can't watch this. Honestly, man. And the only reason I'm watching it now, the only reason I kept watching this game tonight was because of all of you, because of this show. But my mental health is in danger here. I mean, seriously. So I don't know what to do. I got 10 days to think this over. But part of me is strongly debating on going on hiatus at the Dome Patrol. I'm serious. And it hurts to say that. And 9 times out of 10, it ain't going to happen. I'm strictly speaking off of emotion right now because the game, a couple of days go by, I'll probably brush it off and we're back at it with the who dat. But as it stands right now, I don't know if I can do it. Honestly, I don't think I could do it. This is hard. This is hard. These people couldn't even move the ball at all at some points in this game. It was like literally watching paint dry. Depressing. And what made it even worse, there was a drive. I'm pretty sure y'all remember. It was a drive. They got the ball back, and it was a 3 and out. Okay, fine. You know how much time the Saints took off the clock? 22 or 23 seconds. That's how quick they had the ball and put the defense right back out there. That defense. Man. Man. Yeah, but that's just my feelings. I want to know your feelings. How are you feeling right now? Just keep in mind, let's say Carolina wins Sunday, right? I forgot who they playing, but let's just say they luck up and win. We'll be tied for dead last in our division with Carolina. Dennis Allen needs to go. I would love to know your thoughts of the Saints at this point of the season that we're not even in the midway point of. Yeah, chew on that too. We haven't even got halfway through the season yet, and this is where we at. Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also comment on the show on all social media platforms as well. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol podcast here on the KB Radio Network. Once again, just a reminder, the New Orleans Saints lose their 5th straight game to the Denver Broncos by the score of 33-10, bringing their record to 2-5 on the season so far. Oh boy. Yeah, this is going to be a long week and a half. This is going to be a long week and a half. But I'm going to try with all my might. Still scream at the top of my lungs. Who dat?